All right. Hello and happy welcome to our 8th-year anniversary of Hump Hangouts. Today we have episode 416, and today is the 2nd of November of 2022. Super excited to be here. We got all kinds of surprises for you today, and I've seen all kinds of really nice and sweet images already. Consistency definitely pays off, and yeah, I'm super excited for everyone who is here. Adam is still in Thailand, so unfortunately cannot make it today. But yeah, I'm guessing he's running somewhere on the beaches instead of the woods at the moment. And yeah, on my end, really warm weather at the moment here, which is a surprise. Usually this year, this time of the year, it's super cold and almost winter here, but not complaining. Sun is shining, things are good. And yeah, Bradley is here as well. So let's jump in and check in how are things with him.
Things are good, man. Busy as hell as always. But hey, today's 8-year anniversary for Hump Day Hangouts, which is pretty freaking exciting. I think that's a milestone, right? 8 years we've been doing this. I talked about this before, but we've only missed 2 weeks in eight years, and those were both scheduled weeks that we took off. Which I was thinking about this today, actually. We started 8 years ago and it was in October. And so I was thinking, well, it's been 8 years. Why is it November? But that's why, because we had taken 2 different weeks off in the last 8 years. So we took 2 weeks off in 8 years. That's pretty good. So here's to another 8, right? We'll see.
Definitely. Cool. So yeah, before we started, anything happening again this week in the mastermind? Always excited to see what things are going on there.
Well, there's always stuff going on in the mastermind, that's for sure. We let's see, I'm trying to get back to the Hump Day Hangout page. Yeah, we've got lots of different things have been popping lately. I'm been doing some training on the content mirroring method, which was we did for Black Friday to Cyber Monday last year. We released some training on what I called the content mirroring method, which was it's a very powerful method, but I've kind of evolved a bit to now not require Google Business Assets, because I'm trying to continue developing lead generation business model that doesn't require Google Business Assets, at least not initially, right? You can always back into a Google Business profile at a later time after securing a lead buyer or a renter or leaser or whatever you want to call it for the lead gen assets that are organic assets. And that's only because it's very difficult to verify a Google Business profile right now in the US. So we had to come up with some alternative ways to still continue to build a lead gen business that doesn't require that. The whole point is I've kind of developed a hybrid model, which is developing organic assets to rank and then use that to secure a lead buyer or a renter or somebody that, some way to monetize those assets, and then use that also, then do kind of a hybrid model, which is you lease the assets on a rank and rent model is an easy way to do it. That's the easiest way to manage, is to just do a rank and rent model on the organic assets. And then once you have a lead buyer or somebody that's renting the assets, then you can sell them on Google Business Optimization for their Google Business profile. So it's a hybrid model between lead gen and the normal or traditional kind of client agency retainer model. So it's pretty good. I mean, when I first started developing this method, I was doing it with high level websites. So those are websites built in high level platform. But there's some nice parts of that, some convenient things for doing that, which is, but then there's also some problems with that first of all, not everybody has high level. Second of all, the pages, the website builder is full of bloated code, like all of the funnel builders do. So it's not the best kind of a website for ranking. It can still rank, but it's kind of at a disadvantage, if that makes sense. So then I had a WordPress template developed with Elementor by my website builder that we were able to release to our POFU live attendees. So that was our live event attendees. But it presented some of its own challenges, and I'm happy with how it finally ended up turning out after weeks and weeks of development and testing and bug squashing and all that. But there's still kind of some drawbacks with that too, because page builders and WordPress also do a lot of bloated code. So there's some improvements, but then there's also some drawbacks. So now we're having the HTML site builder created, which I know you're working on too, Chris.
We are almost there, man. Like,
Yeah.
we're in the final testing phases, so like should be out really soon, like matter of weeks.
Yeah, and I'm happy about that because that's going to make things a lot better. The sites will be easier to deploy, easier to they'll load a lot faster. They're more secure. You don't have to go update them, so they're maintenance free, which is beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to getting that developed and available, and that's only going to be available on our mastermind members. So I'm really excited about getting that, launching that and making that available to our members. Once, of course, I get to test it first though. So, but
no, I get to test it first.
Well, you
I'm
first, me
already
second,
testing, man.
me second. But then on top of that, I'm also working on some Google Ads training because that's part of this process is kind of developing the organic assets and then also using Google Ads to start generating leads to those assets so that you can monetize them before they ranked. That's kind of the point. Like, the problem, it's not that it's a problem, but part of the reason I've always liked Google Business SEO the best is Maps SEO basically is because I've always been able to get faster results with Google Business profiles, getting them to rank in the 3-pack. And not only that, but in the industries that I've been in, about 70% of the leads generated come from being ranked in the Maps 3-pack. Only about maybe 10% from the Google Ads section. And then the remaining percentage comes from the organic section. So the point that I'm trying to make here is generally I can get a Google Business profile ranked a lot faster than I can get a website to rank organically. But since we now have removed the Google Business component, I don't want to wait 3, 4, 5 months for an organic site to rank well. Now we can get an organic site to rank in low competition areas very quickly, but in higher competition areas, it takes some time because you got to build the brand, establish the entity. There's all these things and by the way, trying to establish an entity without a Google Business profile is a lot more difficult. So there's a lot of steps that I take in order to assist in establishing an entity without a Google Business profile, but it still takes longer to rank those sites than it does if you have a Google Business profile. So I don't want to wait 4 to 6 months before I can monetize an asset that I start building today, if that makes sense. So I've been working on some Google Ads strategies for also generating some leads to those assets. In other words, pushing traffic and generating leads to the organic assets until they start. So initially using kind of Google Ads to seed it with traffic and leads, which then you can use to monetize the asset. And then you can, again, once you establish a relationship with somebody that's either renting the asset or buying leads, however you decide to monetize it, then you can sell them on ranking their Google Business profile. Like I mentioned before, the hybrid model, which will then give you retainer money that you can use to fund the SEO efforts to get the organic property to rank faster, so that you can reduce the ad spend or eliminate the ad spend altogether. So it's kind of a whole process that I've been working on for months. And, it's coming out in stages as we get more of it completed and more testing has been done by me. So the Google Ads training is in progress. And I should have that available hopefully before Christmas holiday. That's when my goal is. And hopefully even by the end of this month, possibly. I've done 3 weeks worth of training already, but I've still got more testing to do before I'm ready to release it. So a lot of big stuff coming out in the mastermind for sure.
Definitely. And also all kinds of updates on our YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe to it. I just quickly post a link to it. So in case you have not seen it before, just make sure you're up to date and get all the informations out there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We've got, I mentioned this last week, but I joined Channel Jumpstart, which is Daryl Eves' coaching program for YouTube stuff. And like, he's the best in the business for that kind of stuff. It's an expensive program, but it's a 12-week program. We're in week 2 right now. And I'm spending 90 minutes every morning from 5:30 a.m. till 7 a.m. working on going through the weekly training, and there's homework assignments, and it's a 12-week program. Like I said, it'll be probably February before I get through the program and start implementing everything. But I expect next year we're going to do a lot of stuff with our YouTube channel, which I think is going to be really good. We'll make our content more engaging and things like that. So it's a process, excuse me. And I'm making progress, but it's going to be slow.
So yeah, like make sure you're subscribed. And again, like as it's our anniversary episode today, we definitely have some surprises for you coming along. So make sure you post proper questions. Also, like if you're thankful or like if anything to say to us, make sure you submit it to the chat. And yeah, like at the end of the episode, we will have quite a couple giveaways. Except Bradley wants to tell them right now, but I guess not.
Yeah, we have, I just wanted to mention some of you are in YouTube watching instead of on the Hump Day Hangouts page, and that's fine. Just be aware that if you want us to be able to see your comments, or if you want to ask questions and stuff, then join us over at semanticmastery.com/HDHO for Hump Day Hangouts, because that's where the chat widget is that we monitor. We may be switching all of that around to doing it in YouTube Live at, depending on how this all turns out with the program I just mentioned that I'm going through. But for 8 years, we've been doing it with the chat widget underneath the video on a specific landing page. And so at least for the foreseeable future, we're going to continue that route. It's been working for 8 years, so we're going to keep it for at least another few episodes that way. So join us at semanticmastery.com/HDHO.
Cool.
All right, so what's next?
And let's jump into getting the questions answered.
Okay, so how are we doing picking winners for the prizes that we've got today?
Yeah, I'm just about to post that to you in the chat.
Well, I'm not monitoring Slack, so I'm
Right.
not going to see anything.
Got it. There will be best question. There will be 2 random questions and 2 random Hump Day Hangout testimonials if we can get to that as like the draws.
Okay, cool. And so what are we giving away?
So we're gonna give away a subscription for Syndication Academy for 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Special 3 T-shirts for Semantic Mastery, or the one that Bradley has, or maybe another surprise one for like special anniversary. We'll see. And a 10-pack of semantic links. PBN
niche relevant links. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. That's
that
right.
Bradley
All right.
will deliver.
So we're going to have, all right, so a Syndication Academy, a 3-month subscription to Syndication Academy, 3 different T-shirts will be given out, and then also a 10-pack of semantic links, niche relevant PBN links. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it then, guys. I'm going to grab the screen and we'll get into comments and questions. Guys, engage today, right? Because we're going to give prizes away to people that engage. So comment, chat, post questions, whatever. Here we go.
Cool.
All right. Let's see. Let me expand that slightly. And I think we're going to start right here. Pondering Guest says, hey, hey guys, Bradley talks a lot about topical links, but I have a question. How are these different to a niche relevant PBN? Also, are these sites generating in traffic or just purely for link building? Well, because I don't know what niche relevant PBNs you're talking about, but because there's, a lot of people that claim that. But what I've found from buying a lot of links from what were called niche relevant PBN links, the content might be relevant that you get the link placed within. Like, in other words, the referring page. So the article that they place the link in that points to your target asset is relevant. But what is the topical relevance, the most prominent topical category of the domain itself, right? So I talk about this almost every week. Let's talk about it again. And it's important because I think you guys all need to recognize how much stuff has changed. In the last year alone, it has changed significantly, guys, because Google's NLP has gotten so good and it's programmed algorithmically to do this now. It used to require manual review, human intervention to be able to do this. The manual spam team at Google would manually review websites at random and look at backlink profiles and be able to determine people were, buying links and all that kind of stuff. And then they would give you a manual penalty. A lot of that is now built out. It's done algorithmically because of Google's NLP has gotten so advanced. And that is precisely, and again, I'm not taking credit for this. I'm giving credit to Eric Lancheres for seeding this idea. In other words, this was where I got the idea to start building what I call semantic links, which are 100% topically relevant links. And I got that idea from him, from this tool right here, onpage.ai, when he was launching this tool back in the December around December of last year. At least I think that's when he launched it. Anyways, this is what gave me the idea for semantic links, was this right here. And this tool integrates with Google's NLP API. So it's done automatically. You don't have to put your own API key or whatever. That's why part of the reason why it's so expensive, because every time you run a scan, it's accessing Google's NLP API, the natural language processor, and it costs Eric money. So he passes those costs off to us. And of course, there's a markup. So it's an expensive tool. There's no question, but it's a great tool. This is my favorite SEO tool right now, period. It does the on-page stuff like a million other tools do. It's called on-page AI. But why I like this tool is because of the off-page stuff. None of the other tools have that. And that is this link relevancy tool, which is really important. And then this one here as well, which is the what they call predictive guest post, but now it's also predictive link building. They're very much the same thing. But what this does is these are showing Google's NLP topical categories. Okay, so these are what the categories. This is just an example, but these are topical categories that of Google's own topical categories, right? Does that make sense? So why I brought this up was because Google's NLP categories very closely align with, it's not an exact match. Hold on a minute. Let me grab the link because I've got some client stuff open in another browser. So just give me a minute. Okay, I'm back. All right. So this right here is Majestic's topical trust flow categories. Okay. And so it's very interesting, but if we just go back and take a look at this, you see how it says computers and electronics, computer hardware, computer peripherals. These are Google's topical categories from Google's NLP. Okay. Here are Majestic's topical categories, or topical trust flow categories, as it's called. So under here, we've got another one, computers, software, programming, hardware. Anyways, if I spent a couple of minutes, I could, going through, because some of these are really, really small, and it's very difficult sometimes to click on them. But the point that I'm trying to make is there are topical trust flow categories. Majestic's topical trust flow categories are very closely aligned to Google's NLP categories. They're not the exact same, but they're very closely aligned. So how are the links that I build any different than other topically relevant links or niche relevant PBN links, is the question asked, right? Well, this is what I'm getting at. So this tool here, right, and this is where I got the idea to start building what became semantic links, was that Google's NLP will go out, and when it first, you take your target URL, this is how the tool does it, but it mimics what the Googlebot does, right? So you can plug your target URL in here, and then you can plug in your backlinks that are pointing to that target URL, right? So you can go to Search Console and extract your external backlinks, export your external backlinks, or you can use Ahrefs or Majestic or any sort of backlink analysis tool that you use to extract the backlinks that are pointing to that specific URL. You plug that into this tool, and what it does is it goes and it scans the target URL first, and it classifies or gets Google's NLP categories that Google has determined are the topical categories for that the content of that page. Generally, there's always going to find at least one topical category. Sometimes it finds 2 or 3 topical categories, and very rarely it'll find 4 topical categories. But usually the sweet spot is between 1 to 3 topical categories that Google will assign to that has determined that the content of that page is about. Does that make sense? And so it classifies the content of a page into Google's NLP topical categories. Like I said, generally it's going to be between 1 to 3 categories. Sometimes you'll see 4. The sweet spot is usually around 2 categories. Okay. That's usually what we see the most of. And then what it does is it goes out and scans the backlinks that are pointing to that page. It crawls the backlinks, and then it classifies the topical categories of the content of the referring page, right? And it looks for a match. And if there is, again, if it identified, like in this case, it identified one topical category, and that topical category was not a match for the topical categories that the target URL content was identified as or classified as. Does that make sense? If it finds 2 topical categories and there is a match because the target URL had, Google found 2 or 3 topical categories for this target URL, and apparently this particular link at the page level had 2. Google found 2 topical categories of this page, or classified the content of this page as having 2 topical categories, which happened to be an exact perfect match of the 2 topical categories of this target URL. Does that make sense? So at the first kind of thing is it scans the target page, classifies the content into Google's NLP topical categories, whatever it determines it fits into, okay? Then it scans the links that are pointing to that page, and it classifies first the referring page, then the topical categories of the domain itself. Does that make sense? And so if there is a match at the referring page level, at least a partial match, then it proceeds to the next step, right? Which is to scan the topical categories of the root domain itself. So what are the most prominent or the primary topical categories of the domain? So site-wide, essentially. And it will determine those too. And what it's looking for is a relevance match, a full relevance match. And it may be a partial relevance match at the page level and a partial relevance match at the domain level. But what it's trying, obviously the links that are the most topically relevant are going to be the ones that are given full weight, right? The most value. But if there is a mismatch in relevance categories, topical categories at all, then it devalues that link. To what degree it devalues them, I don't know. It probably varies depending on all kinds of different factors. But the point that I'm trying to make is a link is the most valuable if there is a topical relevance match, 100% topical relevance match at both the page level and the referring domain level. Does that make sense? So if in this case, like this link from Diggity Marketing had a 100% perfect topical relevance match at the page level and a 100% topical relevance match at the referring domain level as well. So this one link right here is the most valuable link of this whole lot of links here, right? So then what is the next best links out of these links that are showing? That would be the 1-to-1 match at page level and 2-to-3 match at domain level. Does that make sense? Or 2-to-3 match here would be another one. I don't know why it says no page match there. I'm not sure. But the point that I'm trying to make here is you want topical relevance match 100% if possible, but that's hard to do, or at least a partial relevance match at both the page level and the referring domain level. Because if there is not if the referring domain topical categories aren't a relevance match, then that link has been devalued. Not entirely, doesn't mean that it's completely worthless. It just means that it's not producing as much value as it could be producing if there was also a topical relevance match at both the referring page and referring domain level, right? And so when I saw that, when I first saw this, which was, like I said, I think it was in December, it might've been January, but of this year or December of last year, I was in the process of actually testing all different types of links and link providers because I was finding, the links that I was purchasing and building were not producing the effect that they had even a year ago, right? And that's when I was introduced to this concept. I had been testing for about 3 or 4 months, various link providers and link sources, and my link costs were going up and my results were going down. And I kept trying to figure out why. So I was doing all kinds of testing. And like I said, testing different providers and different types of links and link insertions and guest posts and niche edits and all these different kinds, and testing different providers. I tested real expensive stuff, One Little Web, Get Me Links, Authority Builders, like all these like really expensive link providers. And yet I was not, so my link costs were going up. My results were waning or declining. And so there's that saying that when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? Well, I was in the process of trying to figure all this shit out when Eric was preparing the kind of the traditional internet marketing launch sequence, right? He was sending out emails to prepare to launch this tool or access to his app. And that's when I saw this. And one of the emails that he had sent out was like, have you noticed that your links aren't as effective as they used to be? And I was like, son of a bitch, he's talking directly to me. You know what I mean? And so of course, I've been following Eric for years. I highly respect him. He's been a mentor of mine for many years. So I certainly jumped on the webinar. And when I saw this, I was like, that's the missing component right there. Is I can almost guarantee I hadn't subscribed to this tool yet. So I didn't get to scan any of this and see with data that was indeed the case. But I just knew that was the problem. Right. And so I said that, it's easy to get links, guys, on referring pages that are relevant to your target asset, because that's what a PBN link, to get back to the original question, how are my links any different than a niche relevant PBN? Well, my guess is if you were to subscribe to this tool and go extract some of the backlinks that you purchase from niche relevant PBN providers and plug them into this tool, you'll see that you might get a partial match or even 100% page relevance match at the page level. But the domain level relevance match is generally not going to be there. You might have found some other providers that, I'm not saying I'm the only provider in the world that provides niche relevant PBN links. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I tested dozens and dozens of providers, all different kinds of marketplaces and everything. And every single one of them that advertised niche relevant PBN links, if I went to scan them with this, the topical categories were not a match, at least not at the domain level. At the page level, yes. Because again, guys, you buy links, you should always get page level relevance match, period, full stop, or else your links are worthless anyways, right? At least at the page level, it should be relevant. And that's been like standard operating procedure in the SEO world for years. But it's a lot harder to get a link that is also a topical relevance match at the domain level, whatever the most prominent categories of the domain are. Why? Because most link providers are selling links on multi-topic PBNs so that they can maximize the revenue from their PBN, their domains that they purchased, right? That's why the PBN providers sell most of the time links based on traditional metrics, which I could care less about now, right? I couldn't care less about, like Ahref metrics or Moz metrics or traffic metrics. Now, traffic metrics, there's something to be said about that, but Ahref metrics or Moz metrics, so PA and DA, so page authority, domain authority, or UR and DR, so URL rating and domain rating, like that has nothing, it has no measure of topical relevance whatsoever. Those are third-party proprietary metrics based on what their own internal algorithms have determined are link quality and link quantity. That's it. There's no topical relevance measure there either. Now, to be clear, I use Majestic because Majestic has topical trust flow categories. Google doesn't give a shit about Majestic's metrics either. So it's not that Majestic metrics are intertwined with Google, because they're not. Google doesn't care about Majestic trust flow and citation flow, which are Majestic's primary metrics. Google doesn't care about that either. But as I mentioned, Majestic's topical trust flow categories, which is what I care about, very closely aligns with Google's NLP categories. So that's why when I first saw this tool and I was like, that's the missing component, is domain level relevance. I'm not getting that. I certainly subscribed to the tool. I'm still a subscriber today. And I started plugging my backlinks in. And sure enough, plain as day, the data doesn't lie. I was seeing a lot of these kind of, where there's a match at the page level, but not at the domain level. In other words, I was getting partial relevance match, but not full relevance match. And so those links were, and a lot of these, I mean, guys, I'm talking about, buying links from $150 to $400 for one link, one guest post link, or one link insertion or something like that, like spending hundreds of dollars for one damn link and getting page level relevance match, but not a domain level relevance match. So that link has been, again, not entire, it's been, the link is not as strong as it could have been, right? It's lost some of its strength because it does not have a domain level relevance match. And so when I saw that, I was like, that's what I'm missing. I subscribed to this tool. I started testing, and sure enough, that's what I found. A lot of the links that I was purchasing were, they'll sell you on links that have, DR of 62 and traffic metrics of 5,000. Yeah, maybe traffic metrics of 5,000 to the domain itself, but not to your post. So I figured, okay, look, I don't care about those kind of metrics anymore. Once I started testing, and I started testing topical relevance, and that's why I started hunting down domains that already had backlinks pointing to the domains that I could determine what the topical categories of the domain is by using Majestic's, or at least the topical categories of the external backlink profile by using Majestic's tool. And I could very quickly start to identify domains that had topical trust flow in the categories that I needed it to be in. And then I would purchase a domain, publish a website, single page, at least initially, all I did was publish single page HTML sites on the domain that I purchased that already had backlink profile in the appropriate topical category that I needed. And what happens is by publishing a single page HTML site on the domain, it satisfies both the page level relevance and the domain level relevance 100% all in one fell swoop, because the referring page is the referring domain. Does that make sense? And so when I started testing that, and then I started, again, using the predictive guest post or predictive link building tool at the time that didn't have a predictive link building tool, it was just called predictive guest post. I could take the content and scan it before even publishing the article or publishing the site and make sure that I had topical category match, 100% relevance match. And when I started doing that, now all of a sudden, these domains that I was picking up for $10 to $15 to register for a year, and then paying my content team to generate an article and then paying my HTML building team to publish the site for me, I for a fraction of the cost of a guest post and a high dollar guest post, I was getting better results. Does that make sense? Because again, I had 100% page level and domain level relevance match. So when I started building and for a long time, I didn't, even this year, for many months, I did not build any PBNs at all because I got away from using PBNs because of what I just described. Most PBN providers, they buy domains based upon traditional metrics, URDR, PADA, whatever, has nothing to do with relevance. And then they slap up a site and put 18 categories on it so that they can sell links in all these different categories based on those metrics that have no factor or bearing on relevance, topical relevance. And yes, they'll sell you a post that's relevant, page level relevance. But what about the domain? What are the most prominent or primary topical categories of the domain? And so even those niche relevant PBN providers that I was testing, and I would take their links and plug them into this tool. And sure enough, I'd have page level relevance match, but not domain level relevance match. And not only that, but I could go scan the backlinks of the domains that my links were placed on. And I could look at the topical trust flow categories of the backlink, the external backlink profile pointing to the PBN domain that I had purchased a link on, and the total mismatch of topical trust flow categories. It wasn't anything even related to the topical trust flow or the NLP categories that Google determined for that niche relevant PBN. In other words, they might have content on the site that is relevant to what it's linking to my target assets, but the external backlink profile that was pointing to that domain was in a total mismatch category, topical category. And why? Because they didn't buy the domain based on topical relevance. They bought the domain based on traditional metrics. Does that make sense? So they bought the domain based on traditional metrics. So DR, PADA, URDR, etc. And then they put whatever topical category they want, even a niche relevant PBN, they put, home construction or home services on there, and they'll sell links to plumbers and HVAC and tree service contractors and everything else. But because the former content of the domain was about something entirely different, because they bought the domain based on traditional metrics, not on topical relevance, then when you go to analyze the backlinks that I purchased on that to be published on that PBN, I go scan them with Majestic and find out that topical trust flow categories were a complete mismatch. So like a home service contractor PBN, it should have business, construction, and maintenance topical trust flow category. Full stop. That's this one right here. Right there, topical trust flow category, right? That would be suitable for all different kinds of home service contractors. But I would go scan the PBN backlinks and I'd look at what are the most prominent topical trust flow category, and it would be something like completely irrelevant. And so again, you're buying links that there might be some relevance match from the content, but what about the external links pointing at it? So all of that, to get back to the question, I know I spent a lot of time on that question, but it's a good one and it comes up often. Okay. I get this question all the time, actually. And so the point that I'm trying to make about this is the links that I sell are on domains that are in the appropriate topical trust flow category for what they're going to be linking to. And then every post that I publish on that site, before I ever sell a link from that site, we publish 30, 40, 50 posts sometimes, all around the same topic, right? So the topical trust flow categories are relevant because I buy domains that are in the appropriate topical trust flow categories that I need them to be in. And then the former content was in that exact category or a closely related category so that the topical trust flow is in the appropriate category, right? So that means I can buy a X plumber site and I can use it for HVAC, or I could use it for a roofer because the inbound link profile is still in a related category, a very closely related category. It might not be an exact match, but the topical trust flow category should be business, construction, and maintenance in this example's case, right? And then I'll publish, if I'm going to use it for an HVAC site, I'm going to publish 30 posts on the site that are going to be all about HVAC topics. So now, then once the site's indexed, by the way, the other part of the question was, do these sites receive real traffic? Yes, I submit them to Search Console. I get them indexed. And within a week, they start receiving natural organic traffic. No shit. And I've got screenshots of that on my gig page on Vetted, where I show you screenshots for both trust flow values, topical trust flow categories, and then Search Console data showing the actual organic traffic of some of these sites. So then once I get them published or get the sites put up, I get them indexed and they start receiving natural organic traffic. Then I'll start selling links or posts on those. And And so that what happens is we end up with this, right? The links from those niche relevant PBNs give you 100% page relevance and domain relevance match. So the links are very, very effective, if that makes sense. So that's part of, I mean, I thought it was a great question, but that is precisely why. If you just take your time and, like, again, go subscribe to this tool, even for a month. It's expensive, but go try it. If you've been buying niche relevant PBNs from other providers, I'm not saying that I'm the only one that sells them. There might be some others out there. I'm sure there are, but I didn't find any. If I had, I probably would have never started my own link building business. Does that make sense? I did it out of necessity. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Which plan would you need? The highest, the lowest?
Well, however many credits you think you're going to burn up. It's an expensive tool. There's no question.
Features don't matter on that one.
It's a good tool.
What you used it, right?
What's that?
The features don't matter like too much for what you're using it at the moment, just the credits.
Yeah, I mean, again, the link relevancy, predictive guest posts and predictive link building, those are the ones that integrate directly with NLP. I mean, the on-page factors do too, but I'm talking about specifically looking and analyzing backlink profiles. That's what I use it for. Although, like I said, that I do like, it's got an AI writing assistant as part of it now, guys. And it does keyword research and outline builder and all that kind of stuff too. So it's a great tool. It's become my favorite tool for sure. That was a lot of time on one question, guys. I got to start rolling through these. I'm sorry, but that was a good question. I figured I'd give it a proper answer. Okay. Hey guys, what's a relatively simple to fulfill link building type we can offer to clients or other agencies? Getting requests from some agencies that want to outsource their link building to my agency. Well, I just basically laid out a freaking strategy that I built a link building business on. Like, guys, I'm transparent, right? I just told you why that works. That's a differentiator in this marketplace. There's still just go look at all the link sellers out there, guys. What are they still doing? They're still selling based on traditional metrics. You know, so why not, you know, offer something a little bit more unique and more relevant to today's environment in search, which is topical relevance, right? There's a lot of room in this space. There's a lot of money in the SEO world, guys, that there's a lot of money being spent on links, and poor bastards out there, poor unsuspecting SEO agencies and consultants that don't understand the topical. I mean, we're in the semantic web, guys. Like, it's all about topical relevance. It's not about third-party proprietary metrics. Again, Majestic metrics, Google doesn't care about either. But Majestic's topical trust flow categories are very closely aligned to Google's NLP categories. That's why I use that tool as my only link analysis tool now. I don't care about Ahrefs or Moz, or I use SEMrush, but that's for their keyword magic tool and local listings and stuff like that. I don't use SEMrush for backlink analysis either. So anyway. Hey guys, getting into affiliate marketing and have an older blog that is currently monetized with a specific offer. The platform takes a while to approve new accounts due to traffic, etc. I would like to scale up my presence in this niche, and I have lots of smaller websites promoting similar offers. How can I go about getting new affiliate links for these other sites? I don't want to use the same affiliate links as it will cause footprints. Is there a way to somehow have a unique link that goes to the same place? I mean, you could use a redirect. I mean, I don't do affiliate marketing. I haven't done any affiliate marketing in years.
To be fully honest, if you do it properly, and you should do, you probably want to put like an opt-in where you collect the email address and basically are in control of the landing page. Or if you don't want to do the opt-in, I still would recommend it. You can do a pre-lander. You put all your links to the pre-lander, and that pre-lander then gets the people to whatever affiliate link you desire to be.
So you're saying from the smaller affiliate sites, instead of having a direct affiliate link, a link that goes to a bridge page or a landing page as a step between the affiliate offer.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's not a bad idea.
Is like, as I said, like you can also do like the email address opt-in and give them whatever would be of value to your audience, and then either email that link to them, or then just like after the opt-in, they redirect to whatever desired affiliate link page. Yeah, that way you're building a list. You basically are able to email people over and over, can monetize the leads multiple times. And that's also like the money isn't list. We all know that. That's pretty much.
And you can also put a remarketing tag on the landing page if you do that. So now you could not only build a list, but you could also build a remarketing list for that same offer. So that's good advice. All right, next one. Hey guys, in the past, remember Bradley saying he has had some success building out directories for lead gen around a specific industry. Yes. Looking to pull off something similar for a industry vertical I can offer services to. Would you make it free or one time or recurring fee? Aside from lead gen, is there any other monetization we could do or benefits to making it free? I just do it free. But yeah, you can certainly monetize a directory. You can have paid listings that have like additional features. I mean, like just purely on an SEO level, you could do like what I do is all of the links from my directory site are no follow unless it becomes a lead buyer or a client. If they become a lead buyer or a client, then I will turn their links to follow. And then I'll go in and I'll optimize their directory page even further. I'll add schema to it, do a Google map embed, do all kinds of stuff that we can do, because again, I just do that as like value added for my clients or lead gen, my lead buyers. Because I use my directory purely for prospecting and sales, to sell either leads or to find lead buyers, or to find retainer clients, right? So normal tree service clients. But yeah, you can monetize it. Like I said, you could have upgraded or premium listings, which have a monthly subscription, or an annual subscription is another way to do it. Or you could also sell advertising space once you get enough traffic, right? Because it's going to, especially if it's a niche relevant directory, right? So a specific industry directory, then you could put offers on there, affiliate marketing offers, CPA. So CPA offers, things like that to, if you can find stuff that's relevant to that industry. You could build a list, have some sort of a guide on there. Like I have my tree service directory, Tree Care HQ. Just go search tree service directory in Google, guys. You'll see it. Number one, that's my directory, right? And so I could put like an opt-in on there, like 10 questions to ask a tree service provider before, or tree removal contractor before hiring them, or something like that. And I could build a list if I wanted, which would be more of a consumer-based list. But that could be something that then I could, as Chris just mentioned, I could build a list and then I could send, affiliate offers that have to do with home and garden stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a number of ways that you can monetize a directory site. I use it specifically as an SEO asset, as well as a conversation starter with my ideal prospect. Originally, it was purely for outbound marketing. I used my directory site for cold emailing. I would cold email contractors that I added to the directory en masse using just a lead scrape tool and an import CSV file, create all these unoptimized listings on the directory, and then I would send them out. I use High Level as my automation platform, but I'd send cold emails out to the contractors saying, hey, I'm Bradley, a support tech with Tree Care HQ, Tree Service Contractor Directory. We're trying to confirm your company information for your directory page, or your company page on the directory. Can you confirm this following information? Company name, address, phone number, service area, website. And the website would be blank intentionally, just to try to elicit a response, right? For them to see like, oh, well, they're missing my website. If I'm going to be listed in this directory, I want my website. So they reply back, oh, that information is correct, but this is my website, right? Or no, that phone number is wrong. It should be this. Oh, and by the way, here's my website, whatever. The point is I use that purely for outbound marketing, just to start a conversation, not as an SEO, not as a marketing person, but as a support tech with the directory site, just trying to confirm their company information. By the way, guys, I got full SOP training on this, 8 of them. There's 8 SOPs in a sequence for how to build out a directory site, how to monetize it, all of that kind of stuff in the mastermind. So, but yeah, it's a great strategy. I don't plan on monetizing my directory outside of what I do for using it for prospecting and sales, but you could do a ton of things with it to monetize it. But what's really interesting, guys, I haven't done any outbound prospecting for tree service contractors at all this entire year, because I've been focusing on building the link building business. But I still have landed several tree service contractors for my agency because of my directory site, because it ranks #1 in Google for tree service directory. I get a lot of tree service contractors that submit user submitted listings, which means they automatically go into my sales pipeline. That makes sense. So I've landed several tree service contractors this year without even trying, because of my directory site. So again, great strategy, guys. I can't say enough good things about it. And by the way, I got on earlier today, I got sucked into a webinar for a really cool app that I think will integrate perfectly with my directory process. So I picked it up. I'm going to test it for a couple of weeks, and then I'll talk about it when the time is right. But I think it'll integrate. It's just another way to integrate with the directory outreach process. So Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. A lot of ways to monetize a directory site. How would you approach ongoing link building for a large network of local mass page sites with hundreds of pages each? That's a good question. Probably hit like, like hub pages or top of silo pages, depending on how you structured your build. I don't know. There's a number of ways to do mass page stuff. I always tried to do silo structure to a degree with mass page stuff. I don't do a lot of mass page stuff, but like, for example, I would separate, like create a silo around a county, and then all of the city pages would be in that county page, like that county silo, if that makes sense. So it would be a category named after the county. And let's say that the county had 13 towns and cities within the county. Then all of the mass page sites would be location pages. There'd be 13 of them, but they would all be nested within the county category. So the category page would be a primary page to hit with link building, because it would pass through, as long as on the category page, you had like, a list of, you could just insert a table. If it's WordPress, just for example, you could use something like WordPress easy tables or whatever, and create a table that has like the 13 locations, right? And just insert that, or you could do it manually, just bullet points or whatever, but you could have all that are linking out to those, like linking to those pages, right? So it's like basically like in this example, the county page would show like, here's all the cities within this county, and it would link to each one of those location pages. So that county page would be a page that you could hit with links, because then it would power up all those pages without you have to build links to 13 individual pages. You could build the links to the category page, and it's going to flow through to those, if that makes sense. So if you build kind of a silo structure into your mass page builds, you can do it that way. Other than that, the only other thing you could do is do external pages where you consolidate those. Like, in other words, if you don't have a silo structure built into the mass page, and I know a lot of people don't. So if you don't, then that's where you could do an external asset, such as a Google site, for example, that you could create kind of like a silo structure is an external silo structure, but similar to what I just mentioned. You could create a county page on a G site that then would have links out to, or even embeds, but that would be really slow to load. It'd be better to do links, but links out to the 13 individual city pages within that particular county, and then use the G site as your primary link building asset, right? And it would flow through that to those links, if that makes sense. That's just an example. If you can't do it on site easily, like because your structure isn't such so that that it would work, then you could do it off page, using a branded asset is what I mean. An ID page is another way to do that, right? An ID page, very, very powerful. I just did training on Monday. By the way, we should link to that too. The Local Fury webinar that I did on Monday. And that was a pure training webinar, guys. But anyway, go to youtube.com/@localfury. Now that there's handles in YouTube. And I did a 2.5-hour webinar on Monday about what's called local entity audits. And again, if you guys are doing any sort of local, go check that webinar out. There's a lot of value in that webinar. It's not a sales webinar. It was a training webinar. So go check it out. It's free. Do you have any high quality recommendations for white label PPC Google ad providers for agencies that can help us do ad campaigns for clients? Yes. Ed Stapleton, one of our former mastermind members, clickgeeks.com, I believe it is. No, it clicksgeek. Must be clicksgeek.com. I always get that backwards. Always. Every time I go to do this, I go through the same process. There we go. Right there. Clicksgeek. That's Ed Stapleton. I think his face shows up in this video here in just a minute when it loads. Yep, that's Ed Stapleton right there. He's a good dude, former mastermind member. He's developed a full, like this is an entire business. He's a white label PPC agency. So there you go. Tell him I sent you. I don't get anything for that. It's just he's a former mastermind member. He's a good dude. Would it help to write a summary of our service pages and iframe the corresponding service money page into a new HTML cloud pages across yaccs? Yes. Oh my God, yes. I've thought about that in the mastermind several times. Yes, of course. And the ID page too. And an ID page is nothing other than a cloud page. It's a branded cloud page. So yes, of course. I do a ton of iframes with cloud pages, guys. It's very powerful. I started the GBP optimization process in Flowster. What is the average price you are charging to manage a GBP? I'm also setting up a directory. My client knows I will be selling him leads as soon as I get some sites built and ranked, but I need to get him some traffic and make money now. I'm in some other groups and have an idea, but I don't want to undervalue myself. Thank you. For me, for tree service contractors to do just Google Business SEO, that does not include managing a website for them. I started $850 a month. I'm on the lower end of the kind of industry standard for retainer pricing, because the industry that I'm in, I deal with a lot of smaller companies that are literally like one crew companies. So I deal with a lot of like mom and pop, although tree services aren't really mom and pop businesses. They're all pop businesses. I don't mean to sound sexist, but it's very, very rare to see women in the tree service industry. Not that it doesn't happen, but it's just rare. So most of the tree service contractors are very small companies. So I charge $850 a month for purely Google Business SEO. If they want website SEO too, which I won't manage a website unless I built it. I don't charge for a website build though. I just charge an additional $150 a month. So they could do $850 a month for Google Business SEO only. Or if they want a website, then I will manage their website. I will build it for them for free, but it's an additional $150 a month. And then I'll manage their website too. That makes sense. I don't manage other people's websites. If somebody else built a website, I don't touch it flat out. I'll do consultation. I'll send them training videos and say, here's things that I recommend to optimize your website, and send it to them. They can send it to their webmaster. If they want to do it, great. If not, sometimes I'll say, okay, well, I can build a subdomain on your existing domain that then I can manage and can control, excuse me. But I started $850 a month. I know that's on the low end, guys. I've talked about this before, but if you just go look, just go do a quick Google search for Bright Local search industry survey, and you can pull this up, and there's pricing in here about local SEO pricing. And this is I use this all the time in presentations, but right here, the average monthly charge per client in 2022 for local SEO is $1,557 a month. And that perfectly aligns with what I find for most of our mastermind members, because I do an onboarding call with mastermind members each time they join. Somebody joins, you get a 30-minute call with me. And I oftentimes ask questions about like retainers and things like that. And this is right. $1,500 a month is about average. So I'm on the low end for what I do, but that's the industry that I'm in, if that makes sense. So around $1,500 a month. Okay. That's about industry average right there. It's a good question. Jim Dubs, been coming forever. Jim gets a t-shirt, Chris. Jim gets a t-shirt for sure. Because Jim's been coming for years, man. And you pop your head up every now and then, comment, Jim. So you absolutely get a t-shirt, man. Thanks for being here. Alfredo, hey, buddy. What's up, man? He's a mastermind member. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Congrats. Hey, SEO Pukes. Thanks, man. Great hat. Oh, that's Chris's hat. Yeah, I should have done something goofy too. Sorry, I didn't think about it. More SEO Pukes. Love it. Where did that come from? That's cool. Brave says, okay, happy anniversary. You've given so much to the SEO community. Thanks for all you do. I appreciate that, guys. Guys, I love these. I really do. I always have. That's why I've done it for 8 years. It's funny, if you go back to our YouTube channel and look up the first Hump Day Hangout, I mean, what a big difference all these years. I mean, it's so much more comfortable in front of a webcam now, you know. That makes a big difference for sure. It's just, but it's funny. It's been a long process to get to this point. But I love these, or else I wouldn't have done them for this long, right? I really do. I enjoy doing these every week. So, all right, next one. What product would you recommend if you had to use just one product to help a SEO local campaign with no concerns about price? Damn, that's a good question. I mean, I want to say onpage.ai, but that's not a local SEO tool. It's just an SEO tool. And so this would leave a lot of stuff out that you need for local. I don't know that I could say just one tool. You know, I use Bright Local. I was just talking about Bright Local because of this, but I've been using Bright Local for reporting since like 2014, like no kidding, for a long time. I've been using it, and it's a powerful tool because it helps, you know, what gets measured gets improved, right? And so using something to measure all different aspects of local SEO. So that's, you know, organic rank tracking, local search grid tracking, reviews, citations, etc. All of that stuff can be done in Bright Local. But that's just a measuring tool, right? It doesn't help you optimize. It just tells you what your current optimization is and how you rank and that kind of stuff. So, but with that data, you can make improvements, if that makes sense. You have to, you can't improve what you're not measuring, because you know what I mean. So like, so I don't know. That's kind of a tough question. I don't know that I could just say just one tool. But you know, content is important, links are important, all of that. So I think it would be a combination of a reporting tool like Bright Local, and then also some sort of optimization tool like OnPage, for example, or
well, I guess we might have something in 2 to 3 weeks coming up for you.
Yeah. I mean, in stuff like Local Fury, right? That's another app, but that's
I'm talking about the other thing that is coming.
No, I know.
Like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yet.
I know what you're talking about, but what I'm saying is like, I mean, again, that's like another component, right? There's, again, just go to youtube.com/@localfury, and you guys can watch. There's 4 components to ranking locally, and there's all 4 of them are important. So I don't know that I could pick just one, but my favorite SEO tool right now is this one, onpage.ai. Like I said, I don't have an affiliate link for that. I wish I did, but because I promote it every chance I get. But you also have to be able to measure stuff, and Bright Local has been really, really important for me for years. So I don't know what else to say about that one. What's the difference between Syndication Academy and Mastermind? Syndication Academy is about expanding an entity footprint, and that's all. It used to be about syndicating content. It's not so much about that anymore, just because things have changed a bit. But it's about expanding an entity footprint, building branded profiles, interlinking where possible, so that you can expand an entity footprint. It's very, very powerful for any kind of SEO, but for local SEO, that's how you can help to establish a local entity. Mastermind is everything SEO and running a business, running an SEO business. Does that make sense? Mastermind is about all types of local SEO, because that's all I do, is local SEO, lead generation, which isn't just SEO, it's also Google Ads and some other methods, and then also running a business, a local SEO business. Because guys, just knowing how to rank stuff does not make you an SEO business owner. Running a business has a whole slew of its own challenges, outsourcing, management, you know, all kinds of stuff, prospecting and sales, SOPs or delegating work, you know, all that kind of stuff. So Mastermind is all about SEO and running a business, lead generation, local SEO, and running an agency. Okay. How do you find your VA staff members for Google Ads? I don't. Are you using VAs from the Philippines? Yes, most of my VAs are in the Philippines. I have some in Africa and I have some in India, but most of my VAs are in the Philippines. My project manager, Hazel, she's been with me since 2015. She started her own VA staffing agency about 2 years ago. And ever since then, I have never needed to go anywhere else to find a virtual assistant. I just contact Hazel and say, Hazel, I need another VA. Here's the job duties. Here's the pay. Can you staff that for me? She said, give me a couple of days, and 2 days later, boom, she's got somebody in place. It's fabulous. And by the way, if you're in the mastermind, I'll connect you with Hazel. I've done it with many of our members. Happy to do so. She's fabulous. But you have to be in the mastermind. Mastermind has privileges, guys. Do I do any Google ad outsourcing? No. If I do Google ads, I mean, if I was going to outsource it, I'd outsource it to this guy right here. Seriously. But I run Google ads myself. I probably shouldn't, but I do. So any English language issues, not in any written. It's funny. Hazel's been my project. Well, she's been my executive assistant for many years, but she is now project manager over at Semantic Links. And we've never, ever had a Zoom or phone call. Since 2015, she's been working with me. Never had a Zoom call or a phone call. It's always been via text chat and me sending videos. And there's no issues whatsoever. Their written English is fabulous. So Greg says, loving the directory. Awesome. Awesome, Greg. He's a mastermind member. I'm part of the mastermind and love it. I submitted my question yesterday, but I want to ask again, what are you charging to manage GBP? Oh, that's what I already did. Okay. All right, we're at the 5 o'clock mark. We've only got a few questions though. So Chris, if it's all right with you, I want to stick around for a couple more minutes.
Yeah, let's finish it up.
If I can roll through these last few questions, guys, and we'll go ahead and pick winners and give prizes, except for the shirt that we're giving the Jim Dubs. There's still 5 other prizes open. So Happy anniversary, guys. Thank you. Cool Creature says a competitor is attempting negative SEO against our money site by creating hundreds of links from articles on Web2 blog network pages. The content quality on the linking pages is pretty variable, but is on topic. Each page includes multiple links to our pages with keywords we target and rank for as the anchor text. I'm playing whack-a-mole, disavowing the domains each week. So far, we have not received a penalty. Our site is strong, but I'm concerned that it is only a matter of time. We have much deeper pockets than the competitor. Is there anything else we can do? Also, I understand that disavows can take up to 6 weeks to get acted on. So I am resetting the clock each time by disavowing weekly. Excuse me. I don't know. If I refresh the disavow file weekly, could it be that the new disavows are not getting processed? That's a good question. I've never done it in that kind of aggressive manner before, so I don't know. But here's a couple of things just to be aware of, guys. Because of what I talked about at the top of this webinar, at the beginning of this, where I was talking about this kind of stuff, do you realize, like, a lot of the times it's unnecessary to disavow links because Google just ignores them anyway. Does that make sense? I understand you're taking a proactive approach. Instead of allowing it to cause a problem first before acting, you're being proactive, right? So you're trying to prevent it from causing a problem. I get that. But Google literally just, instead of their links that aren't relevant, or so for example, here's the thing. I used to disavow those web scraper links, those directory scraper sites that just scrape and they're nothing but hundreds or even thousands of pages of links, like and that's it. Like, there's no context at all. It's just a list of links. You guys will see that in Search Console, or if you look at backlink profiles, you'll often see those. They're junk links. By the way, if any of you use SEMrush, you'll know that SEMrush is like super sensitive and it'll show you toxic links and stuff. That's how you can identify a lot of that stuff. I think it's overly sensitive. But what I'm saying is a lot of those are like, Google just ignores those. Like I learned over the time that you don't need to disavow those, because those, it doesn't matter if SEMrush calls them toxic or not. Google just ignores those. You can disavow them. It's not going to hurt anything, but Google, it's not going to hurt to have them linking to your site. Why? Because they link to every other site out there too. In my link building business, I manage a ton of local projects, and I analyze backlink profiles of all of the target assets, as well as the top 5 ranked competitors for every one of my clients, period. And so I get to look at a ton of local backlink profiles for not only my clients' assets, but also for their competitors, because I'm always doing competition analysis. And we see the same link scraper sites that are linking to the client's assets, the target assets, as well as to their competitors. So the point is that it's kind of a common thing that occurs across those. So it's, and Google understands that. So it's not everybody's going to go disavow all those. In fact, it's just, in my opinion, it's not necessary, because Google understands that those are web scraper links and they're just going to ignore them. However, that said, as far as every time you resubmit a disavow file, does it take 6 weeks? Honestly, I don't know. All I know is that the quickest way to get a disavow file for Google to recognize whatever you submitted is to send them to an indexer. People say, well, why would you want to index the links the links that you want to disavow to an indexer? That doesn't make any sense. Well, actually it does, if you think about it, because whatever links you decide that you want to submit to disavow, you want to disavow them. If you submit the disavow file first and then you send those links to an indexer, the Google bot will come crawl those links because of the indexing request, and it will reference the disavow file, because it cross-references to see, is there a disavow file on file for this domain? And if so, when it crawls those links, it will reference the disavow file and see that should be discounted or discredited, right? Ignored. So, by the way, disavowing links will not take those links out of your backlink profile in your backlink analysis tools. They're still going to show up. Google will ignore those links, but they'll still show up in your backlink analysis tools. Right. So just be aware of that. So the point that I'm trying to make here is if you want, how can you fight the link competitor as negative SEOing you? I don't know. Other than if you have a strong enough entity, it shouldn't really be that much of an issue. Google really does just ignore very low quality links now. Plus, Google's also aware of negative SEO attacks. That's certainly a thing that has been happening for years. So a lot of the times those kind of things will just be ignored. However, as I mentioned before, I understand being proactive. I think that's probably smart. to do so. But if you want to kind of get those disavow files crawled faster, sooner, recognized sooner, then just every time you submit a new file, take all of the links from that file and submit them to an indexer. Right now, Omega Indexer is working really, really good. In fact, well, anyways, Omega Indexer, I've got it here, but it's going to take me into my dashboard. So that's right there. Anyways, I would recommend you guys, do that. Another good one is speedlinks.net or speed-links.net. Those are both pretty good. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't be more help with that. I don't do a lot of disavowing, although more recently, Eric Lanchares just did last week a training on how to use onpage.ai to get rid of your links using this tool again that I was just talking about, the link, whatever it is, the link relevancy tool, right? To disavow the links that have zero relevance match at both the page level and domain level. If it's a 0% match, topical relevance match, disavow those. And so I started testing on one of my lead gen domains that got some sort of an algorithmic penalty in May of this year. And I haven't really been spending a lot of time on my tree service stuff this year. So
I wanted to add to that, like if you're really that worried about like the competitor and you really got the deep pockets, start cranking out another asset, like and create an additional page and rank that as well. All right, it's just like a backup plan.
Potentially. Alfredo says, watch the replay for Local Fury. Thank you. Fire. You're welcome, Alfredo. That was a long webinar. I did not expect it to go that long, but when do I ever finish up when I plan to? Anyways, I definitely need to watch the training for link relevancy report with onpage.ai. Yep, I would totally agree. It's fantastic. I can vouch that Bradley does check for niche relevance on Vetted. He contacted me. I needed to purchase custom rebuild to fit my client needs with the job. Yeah, so just thank you, Alfredo. Just to be clear, I have the topical categories for niche relevant PBNs on my gig page on Vetted. If you submit a project that I don't have topical categories already in that, I don't have sites already in those topical categories, I'm going to contact you and say that I don't have those yet. So your other option is custom rebuilds, where we'll go out and hunt down domains specifically for you that are in the appropriate topical trustworthy category, and we'll build those sites for you. It's more expensive because those are custom builds, but I can definitely do it for you. But I have a lot of topical categories available, and they're all listed on the gig page. So thank you for that, Alfredo. Appreciate that. There is a PBN backlink for specific niche and customer build backlinks for other niches on Vetted. Okay, cool. Thank you, Chris, for posting that link. LeadSnap is also a great tool for heat maps. Yes, LeadSnap. And I haven't had a chance to use it. I have an account because Patrick Shannon, the developer, was very kind in giving me an account. I've never really used it. Patrick is a really good dude. Yes, absolutely. LeadSnap has got some really cool features too. The only reason why I didn't use it is because I'm so married to high level, and it would just be so hard to disentangle from high level right now. I've got so many different projects and clients and lead gen assets and everything in there. I don't have the bandwidth to move to a different platform. So LeadSnap for prospecting and reporting, and Local Fury for fulfillment. Thank you, Alfredo. Give Alfredo something. Send him a t-shirt. He should already have one. He's in our mastermind, but
already marked.
Let's make sure he gets one too. Wandering says, I like to use Bright Logo. Thanks for answering my question. You're welcome. Do you have any recommendations for getting citations indexed? Yeah, put them in your ID page. I just did training about that in the, well, it's in the mastermind already, but also in Syndication Academy. You want to put your citations into the G sheet of a G sheet, like from a drive stack, and embed that into, publish the G sheet, and then take the embed code and embed that into an ID page. That's one way to do it. Sending your citations to through indexers, I just mentioned, Omega indexers working really, really well. That can help. It's not really about getting them indexed, guys. It's about getting them crawled. Links don't need to be indexed for them to be crawled and recognized by Google. Just go check your search console, extract or export your external backlinks from Search Console, and you'll see there's a lot of links in there that Google has found and identified that may not be indexed. So citations, I don't really worry about them getting indexed so much as just getting them crawled, which is why I say I put them on the G sheet. And there's training again in Syndication Academy and also in the mastermind specifically for how to do that. But put them into the G sheet from your drive stack, or just create a G sheet if you don't have a drive stack. But why don't you have a drive stack is what I'm going to ask next. But then publish the G sheet and put that embed code into an ID page. And an ID page is very powerful. And I talked about that on the Local Fury webinar as well. And I proved with proof how powerful they are for entity establishment, right? And validation. Seriously, that's what an ID page is. It's a unique resource identifier for the Googlebot to verify entity information. So an ID page is it's specifically made for the Googlebot. You guys get that? So that's why if you put a published G sheet with all of your citations hyperlinked to keywords in the G sheet, and then you put that on an ID page, the Googlebot's going to come crawl the ID page as long as you've designated the ID page URL in the add ID field of your structured data. And the Googlebot's going to come crawl that page. So those citations will get crawled, right? Very powerful. Okay, I just watched a few videos about CORA. Seems interesting. Yeah, CORA is a good tool. A lot, but a lot of information to look at. Would you say on-page could provide similar info in better format? Now they're apples and oranges, different tools. Different tools. And I know you are a new mastermind member. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so forgive me. You can tell me. I think we got a call scheduled tomorrow, I believe. And you can tell me how to pronounce your name. But they're different tools. They do different things. Excuse me. Simon says, thanks for the indexer tip for disavows. You're welcome, Simon. What is the startup page software you use for your bookmarks? Something like Start Me. Oh, yeah, that was an AppSumo deal. I think it's Open Tab Extended. I think that's it right there. Yeah, Open Tab Extended. It was on AppSumo. I don't know if it still is. Open Tab Extend, excuse me. That's what it's called right there. And it was a lifetime deal. I got on AppSumo for I think $60. I don't know if it's still on AppSumo, but I love this because there's different categories that I have. So like different start pages, and it's great. I really like this. That's it. Okay, let's pick some winners. Chris, I hope you picked them out because I was too busy talking.
Yeah, I got a couple people. So we got Pondering Guest, which was your first question. So either you guessed the syndication, the very first question.
What was the first question again?
The one where you expanded to like super long and like
about links.
You dropped like 10 bombs and stuff to people.
Okay.
Like massive value on your end.
So I'm gonna make a quick change. Audible called Quick Audible. Since he was asking about topically relevant links, that seems like a really good fit for the 10-pack of topically relevant links.
All right.
So let's give Pondering Guest, which reach out to us at support@semanticmastery.com. Again, support@semanticmastery.com. And Pondering Guest, we will give you the 10-pack of PBNs, niche relevant PBN links, provided I have the appropriate topical category that you need. If not, then we'll work something else out that's comparable.
Then we have Jim Dobbs and Alfredo Delgado with one t-shirt each.
Okay.
And I also have Greg Adams and Wandering Traveler. Like Greg Adams, we can give the Syndication Academy, and Wandering
Yeah, he's
Traveler.
In Mastermind, so he's already got that.
Then the t-shirt for him, and then for Wandering Traveler, the Syndication Academy.
Okay, so Wandering Traveler, whoever that is, reach out to support@semanticmastery.com. And guys, you're going to have to prove that you're that stupid screen name, because the stupid chat app doesn't give you like the real name. But just reach out, support@semanticmastery.com, and we'll make sure that you guys get your prizes. And we appreciate you all. Hopefully we'll be here for another 8 years, God willing. So
sounds good.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you all next week.